Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at the newest product from CarPro. This is a tire and rubber sealant by the name of DarkSide. This was announced during SEMA timeframe. It was announced online, so just to make a correction there, because people always have the need to be correct. CarPro did not go to SEMA this year because, again, it's expensive for them to go. So they've just been announcing their products online and releasing them online. So I don't know if they're going to go to SEMA for 2023. But it doesn't really matter. So they announced these online, Instagram and Facebook, and so this is a brand new product that was announced. Again, I was sent this to test out, so I want to thank Avi from CarPro for sending this out to me to play around with and test out and kind of check it out. This is, again, a tire and rubber sealant. You can use it on tires, anything with that has rubber. It says highly hydrophobic, satin black shine. It tells you here highly concentrated, 60% polydimethyl silazane, 3+ months durability, UV resistant, and low VOC. So many of their products are starting to go low VOC because certain areas don't accept all the chemicals that are in the product. For example, California doesn't accept certain chemicals, and that's what happened to Tarex. The Tarex had to be reformulated for those of us in California, so there's a Tarex version for that's, again, low VOC. I suspect the same thing's going to happen with Eraser, because Eraser cannot be shipped to the state of California, and the same thing with CarPro Clarify, I think is the name of their glass cleaner. Pretty straightforward, the application here. It says clean and dry tires thoroughly. We recommend CarPro Retire. Again, that doesn't mean you have to use CarPro Retire, but if you have a nice tire cleaner like that, they will do the job. In this instance, I use the new McKee's Tire and Rubber Rejuvenator. This is the new formula, so it's not new product, it's a new formula to clean the tire. And then I prep wipe the tire with M122 surface prep. I just went over it real quick there. I don't really care if it's surgically clean or not. I'm not testing this product for durability on this spare tire here. So it says squirt DarkSide 2 to 3 times on a tire applicator or a CarPro microfiber applicator and evenly apply over the tire wall. Avoid water contact and allow to dry for 1 to 2 hours. So a CarPro already has a rubber, product here they can use for tires. That's CarPro Perl. So this is going to be more on the satin side. If you want a little bit more of the gloss side, you want undiluted Perl. If you want to knock down some of the gloss, dilute it 1:1, which is personally my favorite way to use Perl, is 1:1 diluted as a tire protectant. They also have blackout. I don't have any more blackout. There's nothing in here. I've used it all up. This is a tire coating. It's been reformulated since the first version I was sent out to be have a little bit more gloss to it. I've never used it. Honestly, I wasn't too happy with the performance of blackout. It just it didn't last as long. Again, it was up to 6 months, so it did last a couple months. So it still fell within that criteria of up to 6 months. But again, it's not the product that I like. It's not something I would personally choose. I went back to Perl and some of the other water-based tire dressings. So let's get to DarkSide here. I'm going to go ahead and squirt this. This is an auto fiber foam inner core. I'm just going to go ahead and use this up because, again, I'm just testing this product on here. And so we'll see how this comes out here. I'll bring this closer here. So let me just pump this and see if it comes through. I don't know if it's going to make it all the way up here because I don't see it. It's starting to, it's like I said, I'm not a big fan of these. And I don't even think this thing works. It should have been up already. Yeah. So this pump is not working. This is not a good start off for this. It's just not working out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to reach into my bag here, my drawer here, and in this drawer I save a bunch of caps in here. And so I have a bunch of these dispensers here that I can use for tire products. So I don't know why this thing's not pumping. It's either pinching there or it's just not working. So that's pretty depressing on there. I don't really care because I really don't like that. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to be careful because this thing is pretty gel-like. Oh yeah, so it did have a kink in there. So what I'm going to do is, besides make a mess, so I've made a mess, look at that, it's all in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit off this tip here. Let's see if that helps. Okay, so let's try this again. I think it's hosed. Yeah, we're not going to get anything out of this. All right, so plan B, we're just going to switch this piece out, throw this in the trash. Like I said, it's got a big old kink in there, that's why it's not pumping through there. So it's not making it past that break point. And this stuff is real gel-like. We're going to set that aside, hopefully it doesn't drip everywhere. Okay. Screw this piece on. And we'll see if this works out pretty decent, at least for this application. We'll see how it works out. Okay, just make sure the thing's on there tight. And then we'll just squirt this on here. So there you go. It's pretty gel-like. I'm going to go ahead and prime this applicator like that. I'm going to go ahead and just push it into the foam. I'm going to put a little bit more on here. And we'll see how this looks on here. So I'm going to go ahead and sit back down, and then I'll just apply it to this piece here. And I think the next video, after this dries for a couple hours, then I'll show the hydrophobics of the product. But that looks, so the areas where I applied it thinner, look really good. Right here on the edge, it's a little thick. Alright, so that's pretty much it. We're going to let this dry for a couple hours, and then it should be good. So unlike Blackout, Blackout was kind of a funky application because it would kind of soak into the rubber, and it would so you can see that the applicator got a little dirty. Again, who cares? Okay, so that's Blackout, and then we're going to go ahead and put Perl on there. So I'm going to rotate this a bit here, and I'm going to put undiluted Perl on this section here. Let's see if this stays on here. And I'm going to use the brush here, and we're going to use undiluted Perl. Shake it up. My hands are all slippery from getting that tire DarkSide all over my gloves. Okay, so we're just going to use this. Like I said, undiluted. And we'll see how it compares to I'll rotate this way so I can actually see. A little bit more on here. A little too much on that. Okay, so that's in there. Go ahead and wipe this off. And then we're going to do Perl 1-to-1, which is going to be this section here. If I can get this tire to sit right, and we'll spray it in here. I'm going to go ahead and shake this up here. Like I said, I like using Perl diluted 1-to-1. I just think it looks really good on here. Okay, go ahead and set it to spray. I'm going to stand back up here. And I spread it into the foam. I'm making racket in here. So again, just finished applying Perl here to this section here, undiluted 1-to-1. Just working into the rubber, and eventually the rubber will absorb it. I know people, like I said, people don't like it because it's a little too runny when you dilute it, but it looks really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel the tape line off. Actually, I'm gonna wipe down both this version of Perl here. I'm gonna let that dry on its own, just to give you an idea of how this looks. So normally what I do is I normally wipe down Perl, diluted and undiluted. So I'm gonna flip it over to this side of the towel. And the reason you want to do this is because you don't want to get tire sling you don't want to get tire sling on the side of your paint, because then that's just a mess on itself. So that's Perl's cleaned off here. I'm gonna go ahead and peel this off. And what I should have done, I can do this right here. So that we know which is which. Perl 1-to-1. Come on, this thing does not sit right on here. There we go, just stay right there. And then I'll put this here. And we'll do Perl neat. And then this is what you guys are mostly interested in, is DarkSide. So That's what you guys are mostly interested in. And so we'll take a look at all of these. Grab this chair here. So this is still not dry yet, so we're gonna just let it dry for a couple hours. From a Perl standpoint, both versions of Perl are dry because I wiped them down. So we'll let this set up, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what this looks like in an hour or two. And then you guys can kind of judge for yourself. I'm gonna bring you in close here on how this looks here. So again, this is Perl 1:1. So that's a real nice finish right there. And then we start getting into the DarkSide, which hasn't really finished drying here. We'll just let this dry, and if I kind of pan out, it looks pretty greasy and wet. And then if I move this a bit here, we pan over to Perl straight up. And again, it looks greasy, but once it kind of sets up and cures a bit, it's going to be a little bit more on the matte side of things. That looks pretty good too. I like this. I like using. I primarily like to do Perl neat and then maintain it 1:1 until I deep clean it again. So you can actually see from a look perspective, they look pretty on par with each other. So hopefully this gives you an idea how those look. It's probably not the best area where it's lit here in the garage. But we're going to let DarkSide set up here. I may accelerate it with the blower here and just kind of see what it looks like. So maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I'll just accelerate it with the blower and just see what that looks like. But from the initial look, it's probably going to look very similar to CarPro Perl. So let me just go ahead and accelerate that. Let me bring out the sidekick, and I'll go ahead and dry this off and accelerate the curing time frame. But because it's starting to, some areas here are starting to cure already. And so let me just go do that. So I'll be right back with that. I'll force dry this, and I'll show you the way it looks, and then I'll take the tire outside, and you guys can get a better look of the rubber here. Try this, and it just didn't work. But it looks like it's starting to dry right here in this section. So if I put my finger on it, I'm still getting a little gel on here. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, the only directions that us product testers get are what's on the label here. And there's no product description on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just do a wipe down here and see if this affects the durability of the product itself. Like I said, just wipe off any excess here, and we'll try it out, and then I'll let the other side dry on its own and see how it goes. But right now this looks pretty darn satin in its appearance, and right now at this point it's dry to the touch when I level it out from it. So I'm gonna let this, where's the even mark here, dry on its own, and we'll go from there, and we'll see if the other side actually dries. Again, I'll show you what it looks like outside. I'm going to wait a couple hours, and then I'll take it outside and I'll show you the way the tire looks from the stuff that I leveled out manually versus the stuff that's cured on its own. So I think that's probably the best approach, and we'll see how this looks. But I mean, that looks actually pretty darn good. I'll bring you in closer to see that. So it's not as dark. Like I said, you're gonna get a real satin-like appearance on this thing. It's not as dark as Perl 1:1, and for sure not, I mean, glossy. Like this is, like these two versions of Perl are actually glossier than that. So that looks, they look pretty good. So I think if you still want more of that gloss look, you're gonna want to use Perl. If you want that real matte OEM-like appearance, you're gonna want to use DarkSide here, or use the tire coating. But yeah, this gel is a bit tricky to work with, because once it's in these letters here, I think that's where you're gonna get tire sling. Like if this product had more ridges in here, I think you'd want to level those out for sure, or you're gonna get sling. So we're gonna go and just leave this here. Like I said, I'm gonna let this set up for a couple hours. Then I'll come back and I'll see if the side that I wiped off looks any different than the side that's secured on its own. So we're gonna let this set up for a couple hours and we'll go from there. All right, so again, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for final looks on this, and we'll see how it goes. The tire outside. So again, this is playing around with DarkSide here, and so I spoke to Avi yesterday about the tire dressing. It's like, you know, when you use DarkSide, does it need to be manually leveled out, or, you know, with a towel like I did, half, or did you just leave it to dry? And he said either way would work. The thing I see here on this particular tire here, and I'll bring it in closer, is this side looks super oily, and just moving my finger on it, you can actually see that it's still pushing around the dressing, and it's all over my finger. So you're gonna have to manually level this out. So you're gonna have to manually level out the excess product. Now I can't get into these inner treads just with this towel, so some of it, you know, if you have real knobby tires on there, you're probably gonna have, you may, I'm not saying you're going to, you may have some sling. So just wipe it off, and you can see it doesn't look as greasy in the sun after wiping that off. Let me just kind of rotate this thing here. And so it kind of leaked over here, so the tape line is here for where it goes into Perl. But you can see how close it looks to Perl undiluted. It looks very similar in terms of appearance, so just keep that in mind if you're looking for this type of product and you like the look that undiluted Perl gives you. This is going to be really close to it. I mean, that's super close right here. That's the tape line is at, and so that's pretty much, that's a good look there. Let me rotate it this way, and this is Perl 1-to-1 here. Again, very close in look here. So I think if you like the look of Perl, you're gonna like the look of DarkSide. But DarkSide looks pretty good on here. So again, you're gonna have to come back and knock down the excess product, because now it's dry. I'm not pushing any product around here. So if I'm using my other fingers here, I'm not pulling any product out of here. So kind of keep that in mind. So you're going to want to come back and level out the product here, but it looks pretty good if you like that real satin like finish. And then of course, after you dry it for a few days, it's going to probably turn a little bit more matte. I just want to give you guys an idea of the way it looks here. It looks pretty good. So let's take a look at the hydrophobic behavior here. Let me grab the nozzle and we'll take a look at it here. Let me just do this. Let me rotate this over, and we'll take a look and see where the difference between that and Perl. So it's not bad. I think Perl does a better job beating the water. You can just see it here than DarkSide, but it's not bad. I mean, it's doing its thing. It's supposed to repel water, and you can tell that it sheets off. But Perl's going to do a better job beating on the surface here. So I don't know what's in here. I forget which rinseless wash is in here that foams up on here. I'm going to go get my tool, so let me go ahead and spray this on here. Again, I have no idea. I don't know if it's Adams foam and wash, or let me just walk over this way here, because I'm going to pick up my brush here. I don't know if it's Adams foam and wash or DIY rinseless wash. I honestly can't remember. So I'm going to go ahead and take this brush here when I wash my tires, I just use a light scrubbing brush here like this when I do rinseless or washing the wheel and tire. So they're still both repelling. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and rinse this off. And so that just sheets off real slow. But Perl beads more on the tire. So I'm counting each time. This is like wash number 3. So this is basically 3 weeks into your tire ship, your ownership of, you know, your tires and stuff. Yeah, so this is a real slow sheeting product here. Not super hydrophobic. I'm just gonna go ahead and just keep using this with Perl 1-to-1. Looks pretty good on there. Okay, slightly go over this thing again. Just rinse it off. This is number 4. We're basically a month in. And Perl diluted seems to be, undiluted seems to be already gone. This is wash number 5. This is a detail factory brush, so it's pretty soft, unlike the DakShine brush. Yeah, it's starting to break down already. So that's 5 washes, so basically 5 weeks in. Now again, the claim is up to 3 months. That doesn't mean it's going to last exactly 3 months. So if you get a month, 2 months, 6 weeks, it's in there. Okay, so this is wash number 6. Okay, not gonna lie, it's starting to fade here. You can see the hydrophobics are basically nil at this point, yet 1-to-1 is still there. I have to rotate this to see, and Perl undiluted is gone. So basically 6 weeks in is what you're probably going to get out of this product here. I'm going to go ahead and use it one more time, which is okay. I mean, it's not extremely durable, but it is what it is. So this is wash number 7. And these have had a full 24 hours to cure. And you can see that Perl 1-to-1 is still repelling water, and you can see where it's sitting flat on the Perl side, and you can see it sitting flat on the DarkSide portion. So you're basically killed at this point. 7 weeks, you're gonna get about 6 weeks in. Again, all tires are different, and it's hard to mimic durability than actually driving it, but this is just an initial look, but you're probably gonna get about 6 weeks. Out of it. Again, this is just with the soft bristle brush here. Surprising, the Perl 1-to-1 is held up better on this tire than the other two. So it's still beating here. So the other thing it could be is that 1-to-1 is gone, and now we're just seeing the rubber here. But like, this is just sitting flat on there, just sitting flat, not doing anything, just like undiluted Perl is sitting flat with the water on there. So expect about 6 weeks in. I think I'm gonna stop at this point here. You know, is it better than Perl? You're probably gonna get about the, except Perl depends on your conditions, but Perl can last about, you know, a couple weeks. So let's just say at 2 weeks. DarkSide, you're gonna get about 6 weeks, so you're getting an extra 4 weeks out of it, which is pretty decent. I'd like to see it last a little longer, but again, this is just me trying to mimic durability here with a rinseless wash, foam rinseless wash, slight agitation, because I slightly agitate my wheels. I don't use a wheel cleaner every wash. I'll just use whatever I'm using to wash. If I'm using soap and water, then I'll just use this same brush here from Detail Factory to go over the surface. If I'm using a rinseless wash like I'm doing now, again, I will do the same thing, but you can still see that Perl 1-to-1 is, if it's still there, it's holding up pretty darn well. Except I'm telling you, Perl 1-to-1 is good stuff. But as far as DarkSide, I expect about 6 weeks. Again, roughly about 2 weeks with Perl. If you get rain, Perl's gone, like that first rain, most of it. So again, just depends on how you drive and durability and all that kind of stuff. So I am going to put DarkSide on a car here that's driven, and we'll see how long it lasts. But expect about 6 weeks on average, just from this initial test, in terms of durability. So that's already better than Perl. It's not as good as Blackout, because Blackout's going to last quite a bit longer. With Blackout, I was getting like on average 3 months out of that. So hope this helps. You can see the tire's starting to dry here, and you can see it's the tire's still black, so there's still product on there. It's just not repellent. Just like a coating, it loses its hydrophobic nature first, and then it'll eventually lose its look. But it's lost its look on both. This side here is Perl neat. This is pretty much gone as well, because I can't see the transition here. So just kind of want to mention that. Let me just manually dry this here with this towel. Get this water out of there. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So I mean, it still looks good, except the tire is still black. And so that's the key thing. It didn't turn brown, but you just have to reapply every few weeks here. So again, thanks for watching. This is just an initial look. Again, it's just an initial durability check. I am going to put this on a real tire, and we're going to on a car that's driven, and we'll see how it holds up over time. But 6 weeks is not bad. All right. So again, thanks for watching.